Well, I think as part of the research, it's maybe myself and convincing myself that it's okay. Because for a long time, I really wondered why I was so uncomfortable in that environment, sitting with parents and not being on the other side where I was so comfortable as a coach or even on the field as a player. But sitting with parents was really uncomfortable for me, and it took a lot of introspection. And when I spoke with people and read a lot of things, I realized that there are obviously plenty of personalities that show up at sporting events. And I actually created a matrix of personalities, sport personalities. And it was just kind of a caricature of those personalities that you see. And you see a lot of the same kinds of people, like your expert Eddie, who knows everything about everything, and you'll hear it kind of coming out. Or there's commentator Carl, who is commentating the entire game, and all you want is the quiet. But I had to figure out why I was uncomfortable. And that was the first place I had to start. And so I do an exercise actually with the parents for my high school team where I have them look at those caricatures and say, okay, well, what kind of personality are you? And have the kids say what personality they think their parents are. And it's an interesting conversation because they're not always on the same page. But for me, then recognizing that, okay, so just because I'm not yelling Yolanda doesn't mean that yelling Yolanda is a bad person. And just because I may know a little bit more about soccer and I've had that more experience doesn't mean that someone else can't have their chatter. So I had to come to terms with where I needed to be comfortable. I certainly don't tolerate toxicity or abuse, and those sorts of things I will call parents out on. I will literally address people if I feel like they're being that way. But a lot of times, if you really listen to what people are saying, they're not trying to be mean. They're not trying to be aggressive or abusive. They are engaging in the game in a way that makes sense to them as in their personality and what their experience has up to that point. So in recognizing that, it helped me to be much more comfortable with my own decision to just move and say, you know what, it's okay that I'm down here. I'm going to watch the game from here, and this is where I'm going to engage. And then at a different point in the day, or if we're traveling with that group of people, I'll try to engage and still have a relationship, because that's important too. I think what happens when you're watching a game, you feel like, okay, I'm going to move over here, and now all of a sudden I'm ostracized. There is something about the chemistry of parents that it translates to the chemistry of the team. And so you want to make sure that you try to facilitate that as best you can, but it may not happen during the game. And that's okay. If it's not during the game that it works for you to have that conversation because they really want to be involved in yelling, then you just move yourself away, let them have their yelling moments. And I talk to parents about that. There's one parent on my team who really has to move. I don't know if I have a name for her. I think I do in my caricatures, but she wants to be moving the entire game, and she'll pace the sidelines. And I tell her that she'd be great as a ball kid. Like literally, if you need a ball and you just need to watch that way, and I'm going to be quiet, I'm going to be standing over here, and I love you and you love me, and it's fine that we're going to watch the game this way. But you have to acknowledge where you are first, and then acknowledge that not everyone's going to be where you are in that particular moment.